Indianapolis, the racing capital of the world. Since 1909, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway has been the undisputed pinnacle of the racing world. This is the place where legends are made and hearts are broken. This is the one race everyone wants to win. For the first time in its 54-year history, the SCCA National Championship Runoffs travels to Indianapolis. With nearly 1,000 entries in 28 different classes, the Runoffs is the biggest auto race in the world. It features the best amateur drivers in the country vying for the title of National Champion. One legendary track, one epic race, one shot at glory. The SCCA Runoffs starts now.
And we welcome you live to coverage of the SCCA National Championship Runoffs, the 54th edition. And yes, indeed, we are at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the first time ever. Hello again, everyone. I'm Rick Benjamin. Dorsey Schrader is alongside. Hayward Wagner with our coverage on pit road as well. Spec Miata, Dorsey coming up. A great class in these runoffs for many, many years. Our coverage is presented by Mazda here all weekend long. 72 cars in the field.
Record 72 cars. What could possibly go wrong?
Well, if you were with us a few moments ago and you saw our coverage of Spec Racer Ford with 50 cars, we had to scramble out of turn one there because you had 5 wide down the front straightaway.
And we'll get more than that here for sure.
Yeah. Now this, and if you've never been to the Speedway, and we'll show you the track map here, about 2.6 miles, 14 turns. It's wide, but it's not that wide.
No, it's not. This was the original Formula One track. The most outstanding feature is a 3,700-foot front straightaway. Really tight turn one with a really abusive curb down there. You can get, as we were talking about, 6 to 8 cars wide as you go in. Segment one is from the middle of the front straightaway all the way onto the back straightaway, or halfway down the back straight. And the back straightaway is no slouch either, I should say. The infield itself is very, very flat. It is not got much grip, although the current weather is in the 70 degrees, so grip is probably the best it's been all weekend. The next segment, of course, is from the middle of the back straightaway all the way through turn 10, and of course turn 10 sets up the series of corners, probably the most important, which leads you back onto that 3,700 front straightaway and the start-finish line.
It is an amazing racetrack from a lot of perspectives. Obviously, all the history you have here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The road course, maybe not quite so much, but it does get a lot of use. We've been here a couple of times this year with Trans Am and with our coverage of the F4 U.S. Championship powered by Honda, of course. And so you've got, a lot of racing's taken place on this road course this year. They have run World Superbike here. You've been here in IMSA competition. Of course, it goes back to the Formula One days more than 10 years ago now.
Well, it's a very technical, difficult racetrack. The corners are long in duration. They're like long 180s, and the cars don't like that. They don't like to stay in a corner for that long a period of time. So, management of the chassis is imperative. And then you have that 3,700, foot front straightaway, which is the longest that these cars will run on. A lot of drafting is going to take place. 72 cars. There's going to be argy-bargy, as Calvin would say.
Yeah, it's going to be challenging, no question about it. The Spec Miata field rolling off, 72 cars strong. Let's get an update from pit road. Hayward Wagner.
Guys, 72 cars rolling off the grid right now, but we rolled 25 off last night for a last chance qualifier to win your way into the last 12 spots of this grid. During that race, we learned a few things. I was sitting with a couple of pro drivers in the grandstands watching. Somebody behind them asked one of them, do you want to be on the inside or the outside here? About 10 people turned around in unison and yelled outside. Turn one does that huge curve that you guys were just talking about, and we saw time and time again in that race, the car that went to the inside hit the curb, lost the momentum, and that gave the outside car the inside line for turn two. So unlike some of the races we've seen before with formula cars where they don't want to touch the curbs, these guys are going to get on them. It's going to upset the cars, so keep an eye out for that. One other thing to keep in mind, watch the back of this 72-car field. You're going to see a couple of bright red Indianapolis Motor Speedway response trucks heading down the straightway as fast as these guys are. They're going to be, if we have an incident in turn one, they're going to be there before it's over, and they're going to have it cleared in a hurry.
Are you suggesting there could be some early carnage, Hayward? I think that's what he's pointing to there.
Yeah, I think he's on a safe bet, too.
Yeah, as the field starts to roll off here down the pit lane at Indianapolis Motor Speedway to get set for what should be an exciting 40-mile, or 40-minute, I should say, 19 lap, and that equates to about 42, 43 miles around this place, as we are 2.6 miles per lap here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Now, last time around, of course, the lap times in Spec Racer 4 a little over 2 minutes. Lap times here about in that same category, so it'll be a straight. We'll just about get the 19 laps in the 40 minutes that are allotted here.
The other advantage of that outside straightaway is that when you look at 3,700 feet, it's a lot longer on the outside than it is on the inside. So you're on the throttle quite a lot longer, and you don't have that curve to deal with. We'll see that come into play in a just short few minutes.
Starting lineup and running order, top of your screen, courtesy of our friends at Mazda. And we will take a look at that throughout the race. Of course, here we'll keep you updated on where people are running and who's starting where. But let's talk to our pole award winner here today. Chris Haldeman from McKinney, Texas, drives the 28 car in Spec Miata. He's our fast qualifier. Hayward caught up with him early. Welcome back to Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Coverage of Spec Miata, part of the 54th running of the SCCA National Championship Runoffs field. Heating up the tires, cleaning those tires before we get going here. The normal procedure, in case you haven't been with us so far on our coverage this weekend. One pace lap's all you get. Safety car will turn the lights out as we get down to the far end of the racetrack here. We should be ready to go. And
there are going to be more cars than we've seen.
Yeah.
Take this green flag, 30 some odd rows.
One of the questions coming in here, when it was evident earlier this summer that we would set a record for entries at these runoffs,
yes,
over 1,000 cars. How many cars can you start in one of these races here at Indy?
I think 72.
72 is the max.
Yeah, I think there's a rule that says you can only have X amount of cars per mile of racetrack, and 72 is at 2.6 mile.
That is the max, and we are full, no question about it, here in the paddock and full in this field of Spec Miatas. Let's take a look at your starting lineup. At least the first 10 spots. Haldeman on pole in the 28 car. Preston Pardus from New Smyrna Beach, Florida in the 42. That's the Danis Utilities entry, starting second. Danny Stayer from Fort Lauderdale, Florida in the 39 goes third. He's been doing this a long time and has won numerous races and championships. The adept Rossini, Spec Miata. Matt Reynolds in the 74 lines up fourth from Fair Oaks, Texas, the Reynolds Brothers Racing entry. Tyler Kissera from Manheim, Pennsylvania in the 44 will start in fifth spot. Jonathan Davis in the 16 from Wadsworth, Ohio, the Rossini machine. Daniel Bender in the 21 from Northbrook, Illinois, the Bravo Trailers entry, starts seventh. Michael Gagliardo from Chicago in the 13th, and the best from Bocce Racing 13. He will start in the 8th spot. 9th to Michael Carter from Savannah, Georgia, the 08. That's a Rossini Carbotech Spec Miata. 10th spot, Celan Rolian from Miami, Florida in car number 87. That is the Flat Out Motorsports entry. Those are your top 10. The Bill Racing, B&I Racing entry as well, the 87 car. So first 5 rows, and keep up with your favorite driver the rest of the way, top of your screen. Want to give a special shout out to the 178 car, 22nd qualifier Clark Camburn. Clark is our executive producer and director of our coverage here traditionally at these SCCA runoffs. His 10th anniversary, we understand, this weekend as well.
Absolutely, and has done well all weekend. He was up to 5th at one point in qualifying in a very, very competitive field, the largest field we have.
Field coming through the final couple of corners in the infield road course here at Indy. A little short straightaway here, a right-hander. You'll go through the last 2 turns and then out onto the front straightaway. There's Clark Camburn in the Apex 178. Apex Broadcasting, the name of our production company here, and we are glad to have Clark in the field here. Jeff Lepper, one of our broadcast colleagues, also will run in T2 a little bit
later on today. That's a good-looking car right now, the 178. We shall see.
Every time this year that I went to a road course event in our coverage that we produce and that I host in many other series, someone would come up to me and say, you know what, I've got a car, I'm going to run, I'm going to enter the runoffs. To have this opportunity to race at Indy has brought all these drivers and cars here this weekend. And
this class, amongst all classes, is probably the class where you can actually buy a car, come out, and be competitive. It's a great class, and it's a lot of fun, as these guys are just about to find out.
Haldeman in the 28 car. Pardus in the 42. Your front row, 72 strong. They go 3 wide already. Green flag is in the air, and we are underway at Indy.
Make it 6 wide back there in the back where Clark is. And you see the two trucks bringing up the rear. They could be busy in a moment.
They could be. We'll see if everybody can get through the first couple of corners safely here. Fighting for position down into turn one. At temptation to go inside. Just too much to pass up for some of these drivers. Everybody clean so far.
Yeah, through this group anyway, but the tire smoke was behind that. Now, as we come off the corner right now, things look good.
Matt Reynolds in the 74 settling into third. The 20 car.
They'll tire smoke off some of these cars as they turn in and apply the brake, trail brake in the corner.
The 75 in trouble, and he is beached.
He is beached and stuck, and that will more than likely give us a full course caution to get him out of there, because he'll be in the target zone for sure.
Haldeman in the 28. The red machine is your early leader, your pole sitter. Pardus in the 42, settling in behind him in second spot. And Dorsey, much like what we saw in Spec Racer 4, and again, you don't want to lose the draft with the leaders.
No, these cars are all equal. They're spec class cars, so you need a partner. Now, this is going to get interesting down here. The two guys are working with each other. At 74, it gets collected and all that.
Tyler Casera in the 44, jumping out of line there, making a nice move, passing the 74 car of Reynolds, picking up a couple of spots. The 87 on the move as well. That's Seth Rolian, who started in 10th position out of Miami. He has gained ground here in the early going.
So far, we have no full course caution for that car that's in the beach. They might have maybe got it out of there. That'd be good. As they come for the first time up onto the back part of the course, the third segment. All the car, oh, and you see right there, the 44 makes a mistake, drops a wheel, gets a big wiggle. Good catch and a good save, but he'll lose time to that.
Lead cars, there's the 0, the 16 fighting for position. The 74 car, Matt Reynolds, started fourth, gave up ground early on. Your leader is the pole sitter, Haldeman.
And we're still green, clean and green.
Yeah, single file.
Wow, we got a lap in.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Exactly.
Now there's a 0-1. He's got it bent right front. He's got a tie rod broken on that 0-1, and so he will not be going on.
The Planet Miata machine.
One of the cars wide here in turn one, makes it back to the racetrack. The 28. Slight mistake, but a good save.
Yeah, he's given up the lead here at the moment. The pole sitter Haldeman, the 0-1. John Costello from Dallas, Pennsylvania, in trouble in that car on lap 1. The 13, the 44, and the 87 all putting on a great fight here. Lead now has been picked up by Pardus in the 42.
And that off of just a simple little mistake. And he actually, be quite honest with you, you normally don't just lose 1 or 2 positions. You could lose a ton, because nobody will let you in, even though they're supposed to be your friend.
Rolly in there in the 87 car, making a big move early on after qualifying 10th. He's gained ground. He is up into 4th spot right now. So Rolly doing a terrific job here in the early going.
Somebody in the back just went big sailing 4 off, but comes back on the racetrack, doesn't collect anyone. Very impressed at this point is how much order there is in the ranks here.
Exactly. Haldeman your leader, Pardus in second, Stein in the 39. Danny Stein moving up nicely as well.
These cars are a blast to drive. You can tell there's a lot of roll in the chassis. They slide around a lot. They're all equal, and you can just wail on these cars all day long.
Action in the top 10 here in the early laps of Spec Miata. 72 cars, your starting lineup here today. Incredible, the action we're seeing.
See, the driver finally got out of that car that had the broken tie rod. He's going to go find a place that's safe away from the racetrack, and we'll leave that there, I'm sure.
Great action everywhere. Your lead continues to be held by Haldeman. Pardus in the 42.
I cannot believe the discipline. Look at this line of cars. Everybody working the draft, which is really the right thing to do. If they were all spread all across the racetrack, this front pack would be gone. But right now you can see they're not. There's no breakaway. There's still 10, 12 cars that could win.
Stein in the 39 now has moved up to second. Made the pass there on Haldeman. Pardus is your leader in the white 42 car. Stein in that blue and orange 39 up into second. Third spot, Haldeman, the pole sitter, settling into one car, the 5th, 6th place car, way off into the dirt there. Gets it collected and back up onto the racetrack. Gagliardo in the 13 up into 5th position, the silver car here. Up behind the 87 car, doing a great job of rolling. All right, we'll take a quick timeout. Coverage of Spec Miata. We'll be right back at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. for those of you watching on SCCA.com, we welcome you to our coverage today of the 54th SCCA National Championship Runoffs. He's Dorsey Schrader, Iberick Benjamin, Hayward Wagner on pit road. And in case you're wondering what is happening, well, this is one of the events that may well end up as a telecast on the CBS Sports Network in the weeks to come. We'll let you know more about that via SCCA.com as we get closer to that schedule. We'll have 4 of these Runoffs broadcasts on cable television. First time in years that that's been the case, and we're thrilled to be able to tell you that. And one of the events that may well end up on TV is Spec Miata. So we're taking a brief break from our CBS Sports Network coverage here to talk with you on our online coverage, which we've been doing these last several seasons for the SCCA National Championship Runoffs. Spec Miata, Doris up onto the front straightaway. Terrific. Pardus in the 42 leading the way right now. We've seen some of these drivers in the lead group take a look to the inside. Here's Stein in the 39 car doing exactly that with Haldeman helping him out.
And not just Haldeman. It took 3 or 4 cars and they pop back up. This is they've been practicing, I can tell you that. I'm impressed with the amount of cars that are running disciplined like they are. That was a very smart move back there. They cleared the car that they intended to pass, but then went back in formation with them, so it didn't drag a whole bunch of other guys into the fray.
Pardus in the 42 gets shuffled back to 4th. Here's Stein. He's been the guy on the move. I'm sorry, Roland in the 87. Roland in the 87 on the inside. That's the orange car with the black stripes. Started 12th here today and has moved quickly into the top 3. He is flying in that car.
Flying in formation, too.
Your leader is the 39 of Stein. Haldeman getting shuffled back a little bit in the 28-year pole sitter. The 87 car of Roland now on the move. Back at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, coverage of Spec Miata here. Our coverage presented by Mazda. Iberick Benjamin, Dorsey Schrader alongside. Hayward Wagner on pit road. Early laps here. We put 2 on the board so far, working 3 of 19. And it's been a terrific fight up front. Dorsey, the fastest car in the place, may well be that 87 car of Roland. He started back 10th. He has advanced to 3rd, and he's right there.
He's in that draft that you want to be in for sure. Danny Stein also, our lead car right now, has been the most aggressive car in that front pack. He's worked his way from his 4th place start up into our 3rd place start, I should say, up into the lead. I'm impressed with the discipline of the front group. These guys are really doing a great job of working the draft and working with one another and not cutting each other up yet.
Yet being the operative word. Preston Pardus in the 42 car was the leader last time by over start finish. He got shuffled back to 4th here in a 3-car draft. Stein taking advantage to grab the lead in the 39. Stein will hold the advantage at start finish. Side by side battle back there in 8th and 9th. And here comes the 87 of Roland on the inside. He's got drafting help from Pardus here. And Roland going for the lead. He's got it down into turn 1.
And look how they work as a pair. One guy pops and another goes with him. That's what you want to do. I don't know if these guys have talked about that and they made their deals before the race, but you don't want to go out there and get stuck out there by yourself. Somebody's got to come with you for their draft to be effective.
Selling Roland in the 87 out of Miami from 10th to the lead here in 3 laps time. Now he's got help from the 42. That's Pardus up alongside, challenging for the lead. Those two may be able to pull away together.
Well, they definitely did work together when he did the pop. No doubt about that. I don't know if there was hand signals. I didn't see. One of the things you can do is if you're in the lead car and you're going to make a pop on a guy, you signal to the guy behind you so he knows I'm going to go. Come with me.
Yeah.
And you can go as a pair.
Exactly so. The 87. Still your leader. Roland in that orange car is out front. The 42 of Pardus in 2nd now. Single file racing for the moment, except in a couple of places where we've had drivers do exactly that. Pop out of position, take advantage of some drafting help, and gain 1 or 2 or more cars in one particular part of the racetrack. That one, the end of the backstretch, that's another good place to try that move.
Yeah, absolutely. And you set it up before you get there, and you want to have that hand signal so you know you have a partner to go with you. Oh, one of the cars gone far off and just pops back out.
Doing a little lawn mowing there. It's easy to do in these cars. You can get bumped offline and end up out in the grass.
Well, you're driving so loose. You look at the cars, they're leaned over, they're sliding the back ends around, and any little bit of, getting too wide, the dirty part of the racetrack, and all of a sudden you're sliding off the track.
The 48 of Hill there, that red machine, trying to stay on the racetrack and gain some ground. Ferranti in the 51. They're fighting for position back around 20th, 21st, 22nd. It's a great fight. The 48 car of Hill, the 51 of Ferranti.
The cool thing about this track is no matter what your skill level is, with 72 cars, you're going to race somebody.
Yeah.
You're going to be in there racing somebody for some position.
Well, and remember, we had nearly 100 entries for this race. We had a last chance race yesterday for the final 12 starting spots. 25 cars took the green after 60 had made the field on time. So we had 85 actually present themselves to race this weekend in Spec Miata.
And it's been years since you've had to qualify to get into a runoff. So I can tell you that. There was a time that you had to do that, and we're back to that time now.
That's fantastic. As the sport becomes more and more participant-driven at a lot of levels, it's just, for those of us who have so much fun being part of these runoffs, in the paddock, on TV, wherever it might be, those working corners, those safety workers, those helping sign everybody in. There's Clark Camper, number 178, the Apex Mazda. Trying to find some help back there,
Yeah, he needs to get tied up with somebody. It costs you about a half a second every time you get that straightaway if you're not tucked up underneath someone.
Talked to Clark about his effort here this weekend. He's back in 25th right now, and he said, yeah, I just forgot during qualifying that I needed drafting help. I had help for a while, lost the draft, couldn't find anybody else, and that was what killed his qualifying.
Boy, and once you get stuck out on your own, I mean, you are in no man's land. There's not a thing you can do. You know, they're short of trying to slow up and get in somebody else's pack, and of course they don't want you there.
Early laps here of Spec Miata at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The 87 still your leader. That's Roland from Miami. Qualified 10th, has advanced to first in the first couple of laps with help from the 42 of Pardus. The 28 of pole sitter Chris Haldeman in third spot right now. The 13 car up into fourth spot.
All these guys working with one another, trying to get a strategy going. You know, at some point you're going to have to, the 5, 6, 7 cars, you want to reduce that down to 2 or 3 if you can. And we see now a triple flare to the inside to try to pass the red car.
Yeah, Pardus on the inside. He's got drafting help. He will take over from Roland, who started in 10th and went to first spot.
Ooh,
contact there.
I thought, yeah.
The 28 car of Haldeman, your pole sitter, gets knuckled on the inside.
And that was a miscue. That was a mistake made.
The 39 car.
It was too great.
Danny Stein in the 39, who led laps earlier, also involved in that skirmish. All of this hands the lead back to the 42 of Pardus. The 42 car, Preston Pardus from New Smyrna Beach, Florida, started on the outside pole, gets the lead back. And Dorsey, you can see this coming. The last couple of laps ought to be tremendous among these top 8 or 10 cars in Spec Miata. All right, leaders working the back section of the road course here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We'll take a quick timeout and come right back with more Spec Miata action. The 54th SCCA runoffs will return in just a moment.
Coverage of the SCCA National Championship runoffs is presented by Mazda. Driving matters.
Every stitch is a part of me. All these shapes and designs express our devotion to craftsmanship. I want people to feel our passion when they touch it and when they drive it.
The all-new Mazda CX-5. Can you feel something without touching it? See something with your eyes closed. When everything is designed around you, the driver, you can. The Mazda 3.
Welcome back to our coverage on SCCA.com of the 54th SCCA National Championship runoffs. He's Dorsey Schrader, I'm Rick Benjamin, Hayward Wagner on pit road. Some bump drafting going on there at the end of the front straightaway. You can see a little beating and banging going on. Action a little further back in the field here. The 21 car. This is action back around. I'm going to scroll down here and look at my timing and scoring monitor just a little bit more. This is back around the 30th, 35th spot here today. So, like you said, Dorsey, racing everywhere in this 72 car field.
There's nowhere on that racetrack you're not going to have somebody that's going to contest you for your part.
For sure. And just a reminder, you're watching us at SCCA.com. That's terrific. This may well be one of the events that we produce and put on CBS Sports Network. We're going to rejoin our CBS coverage here in just a moment. Back at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, coverage of Spec Miata, the 54th SCCA National Championship Runoffs with Dorsey Schrader and Hayward Wagner on pit road. I'm Rick Benjamin. Glad to have you with us. Day one of this 3 days of incredible racing here. Glad to have you with us on CBS Sports Network as well. Battling up front, the 42 of Pardus. Preston Pardus is your race leader. The 13 of Gagliardo in second. They have started to pull away now. The third place car, the 87 of Roland, he led laps earlier. He's lost that lead draft.
Yeah, he's still in it. I mean, he's still got the advantage of it, but he needs to tidy it up and get back in close proximity. It'll get wild here toward the end. Right now, everybody running off laps and trying to get themselves in the best position as possible.
Working lap 7 of 19, 40 minutes by time for each of these Runoffs National Championships. Drivers gunning for gold, silver, and bronze medals. Lap cars may be a factor this time by as well. The leaders funnel by one of the slower cars on the inside there.
But you notice how everybody stayed behind him to the last minute to get the help of the draft off that lap car. Even he is opening up a wall of air that can be used to your advantage. So everybody followed him until the last minute, and then they popped up the hill.
Pardus in the 42 has the lead right now. The 13 car in second, that's Gagliardo. And yeah, the last couple of laps here will be wild. But Dorsey, unlike Spec Racer Ford, where we had the top three under a blanket, we're getting a little separation here. Now, the Miata is a bigger bodied car, so I would think the draft to be a little larger. You could pull more traffic along with you. Probably,
and these cars have more movement too. I mean, they're a street-derived car, and so you see the body lean on them. You see them sliding around. So you can't run as tight as you could say with that Spec Racer Ford or Spec Racer, because that's more of a real race chassis than these street cars.
Roll on there in the 87 is third. Danny Stein in the 39 car, the blue and orange machine, in fourth spot right now.
Things starting to get a little more sloppy. You see now guys dropping wheels, again throwing dirt and debris up on the racetrack and in your competitor's windscreen.
Action a little deeper in the field. There, a little brake lock up. They go 4 wide for a moment. The 02, the 98, the 54 in action fighting for position here.
02 locked up, got on the brakes too hard initially, and without the weight transfer to the front, locked the front brakes up and got a big wiggle. Could have been worse with wrinkled the fender of the 30 car, unless that was wrinkled earlier.
This is action back for 50th, 51st, 52nd, and 53rd. The 02, Giu,
to my
Linder,
point, nobody wants
Boyd, and Campbell back there fighting it out. Great racing everywhere you look, and that's what makes Spec Miata so much fun. A lot of us anticipating Liuzzi there in the 46. He was running 47th last time by. So you've got action here from like 45th to 55th spot, and these drivers going at it just as hard as if they were racing for a podium.
Can you imagine the groups of stories? I mean, here's this group right here with 12, 13 cars. They got their story. They're racing like crazy back here. They're not for the win. Here's somebody shortcutting around the inside.
33 of the 53 car.
Yeah.
That's kind of Gulf blue with that orange stripe back there. We'll try to check timing and scoring for you.
I think he's in trouble.
Right, he could be.
Tire or something.
Could be, yeah. Running order top of your screen. Keep track of where your favorite driver is. And that is produced in courtesy of our friends at Mazda up at the top of your screen there. The 53 car, Hans, he was back in 23rd spot, and he is off the pace. Now, he may not be able to make it around.
He might have had a mechanical and actually drove himself off there. When we first saw him, he was in the dirt for sure, but he might have put himself out of harm's way as a result of a mechanical failure.
Working lap number 7 now, and up front we've had some jockeying for position as well. We'll try to find the lead pack for you here and show you where they are, and we may well have lap traffic be a factor before all 40 minutes of action, 19 laps of racing are on the board here today.
I would think so. With that many cars, there's our lead group right there, actually now just catching up.
Oh, in trouble.
Oh, big trouble.
Spin at the outside of turn number 1. Local yellow waves. Driver gets it.
Saw that tire smoke when he first got on the brakes. Left front locked up. Oh, another one. This is a separate incident right here.
This is on one of the short straightaways on the backside here. Now, this is going toward the final couple of corners here at Indy.
I knew it'd get sloppy sooner or later. Just had to.
All right, so talk to me about these race cars. These Spec Miata machines are rear drive cars. They're not extremely aerodynamic. All these cars have been rubbed on quite a bit, of course. If you get to this level, if you're running at the runoffs, your car is very well prepared, there's no doubt. But this is not at all, this is not a purpose-built race car.
No, it's a street car with modifications for safety and some performance, but more safety than anything else. And they're a spec class. Everybody has the same horsepower. We see cars, our trucks on the front straightaway for the car that broke down there, the Golf colored car. The weight is the same in all the cars. The horsepower should be around the same. Driver skill becomes a big factor. This is the lead battle, by the way.
Battling for the lead, the 13 of Gagliardo with some drafting help now from the 87 car of Rowland to the inside contact. He sends the 42 of Pardus off into the grass. So Preston Pardus, who led laps today, gets knuckled back to fourth here in that exchange.
Yeah, you just had to know sooner or later these guys were going to get aggressive. They were, and the more cars that are in that group, the less tolerance there is when you start throwing cars around. You see how much these cars really do slide.
Rowland in the 87 qualified 10th in that machine. Michael Gagliardo
Right
in 13 qualified 8th, beating and banging on the backside here.
He gave him a good rub right there
Yes,
on the exit.
he did. And your pole sitter Haldeman, who had dropped back to 6th in the 28, right in the mix for the lead. This one is a wild one today here at Indy.
It's going to be wild here very shortly. I knew it would.
We're not even halfway yet.
No.
Working lap 8 of 19 here.
That last rub back there was a mistake. He was waiting for the car to clear him. He wanted to get real close to get in the draft, but he didn't leave enough room. And when he turned right, he just went right across the back bump. And again, right there, I think they might have just about made contact. That's slowing everything up, too, by the way. It's not helping the cause.
Well, if you subscribe to the theory that rubbin's racing, you're getting your fill here today in this one, no question. The 44 car off briefly. That's Casera. He was up to 4th a moment ago.
If you're the local Mazda dealer, you got your parts department cashier ready.
No question about that. The lead in the hands of Sealan Rowland right now in the 87 car out of Miami. Quick break for us. Back with more coverage of the 54th SCCA runoffs at Indy. And welcome back to our coverage here at SCCA.com. Rick Benjamin alongside Dorsey Schrader, Hayward Wagner on pit road. Top 8 now settling down into a single file run here down the front straightaway, Dorsey, as we put another lap up on the scoreboard here, getting close to halfway. And by this point, if you're one of these top 6 or 7 cars, you've got enough speed to be up front here and be in the lead group. You're starting to probably think, okay, how am I going to handle the last couple of laps?
Yeah, and you know, you brought up a good point before where we're just at halfway, and I think these guys, they say, okay, they settle down, man. We still got another half a race to run, and we're all beating each other up right now.
You're not going to run away and hide in Spec Miata.
No, there's not going to be a breakaway runaway. You know, a couple guys or maybe 3 guys could work together and hopefully open a gap up. But you can tell all these guys have run with each other. They all know exactly what the game plan is, and they're mixing it up. So it's going to be the last 3 laps when you got 8 cars for a lead. It gets ugly.
We have got in the paddock here, and we have nearly 1,000 cars on the grounds here this weekend, by far the biggest entry ever in an SCCA National Championship runoffs environment. We've got some pro drivers. We've got drivers here who are racing Trans Am, who are racing F4, who are racing Pirelli World Challenge. And so you've got some pro-level competitors here. One of the biggest things that I like about Spec Miata, much like Spec Racer Ford, none of those, there are no pros in this field. And you've got guys here who try as hard as they do. It's hard to lay down consistent laps start to finish, even when there are only 19 of them. You got guys here who may put down a great lap and then struggle for a couple of laps, and that leads, I think, to a lot of action, a lot of competition.
Oh, no doubt about that, for sure. And you're at Indy.
Welcome back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Coverage of the 54th SCCA National Championship runoff. Spec Miata, great racing here all over this facility. 72 cars doing battle around this 2.6-mile, 14-turn layout. 4th race of the day on day number 1 of these runoffs. Your leader right now, the 87 car, Sealan Rowland from Miami, Florida, who started in the 10th spot. And the pole sitter right alongside him, the 28 of Chris Haldeman. Fighting for the top spot. They have opened up a couple of car lengths on the 3rd place entry.
Haldeman doing a little bump drafting back there on the front straightaway. And if the chief steward will allow that, that was a perfect shot. He gave him a shot going up the hill, coming on the front straightaway, and you can see what it did. It probably gave 5-mile-per-hour top-end speed, which draws everybody up away from the guys behind.
Preston Pardus in the white 42 is in 3rd. Michael Gagliardo in the silver 13 car running in 4th spot right now. And 5th belongs to the 39 of Danny Stein. There you see some of that rear bumper cap and tail light kind of flapping in the breeze there on Haldeman's car, the 28. And, you know, normally, again, referencing pro racing, if that's what you normally watch and enjoy, you'd think, oh, something like that, they're going to either black flag them or it definitely hurts the aero. Not so much in Spec Miata.
Well, they'll tell you in the driver's meeting, too. It's up to the chief steward and what his beliefs and feelings are, how much of that will be allowed. If they allow bump drafting to happen, there's a huge advantage in doing so. Or if the chief steward in the driver's meeting says, okay, you know, I'll allow you to do it in the straightaway. I don't want to see any bumping in the corner. He'll set the precedent. He'll let the guys know what is expected.
No change among the top 6 this time by. The 21 car of Bender in 9th. And then that battle for position, the 121 of Federi. Leverone in the 91 car. Carbonneau in the 0, a little ahead of this group.
That's 9th place battle going on. They're not that far away, though.
No, not at all. The gap is pretty tight here. You know, they're back about 6-7 seconds from the leaders, and we're putting lap number 9 up on the board this time by.
And surprising, we're yet to see a full course caution.
Yeah.
You know, we had some
local yellow there for the car that has had mechanical issues.
And we had the one off earlier in the gravel trap, which they deemed to be in a safe place. So I saw the driver get out, so then he's safe.
And this is just a warning to drivers coming out of the front straightaway to move over. Basically,
it's a
the
no
car's out of the
zone.
line.
Yeah. The only thing it does is it stops you from being able to make a pass in that zone. Till you pass that car that's sitting there, from the flag to that car, there's no passing allowed. Well, here's our lead group again, and they have not given up.
The 87 car still out in front. Roland continuing to lead the 28 car of Haldeman. Let's get an update from pit road. Hayward Wagner.
Hey guys, I went down to turn 1 for the first lap of this race. A really clean first couple of corners. One car went off into the gravel. Very fast response from Indianapolis Motor Speedway rescue crews to get him out. There was a big ovation from the crowd when the car came out. I looked over my shoulder and there was a Speedway president, Doug Bowles, sitting there, big smile on his face. I walked down the stairs with him, said he wouldn't miss it. He's really excited to see SCCA Spec Miata racing here on his racetrack.
Well, it's amazing, 72 cars without a caution. That just says something for the racetrack.
It does, yeah.
I mean, those guys went out there, got their job done under a local yellow, and allowed this race to continue on. Because these big car fields like this sometimes can turn into nothing but just follow the pace car.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to see that.
No, not at all. Everybody came here to race. It's only a 40-minute race, and if you're only running in one class, as the majority of the entrants are, we've got some multi-class entrants here this weekend, but most of these guys come with one car, maybe a couple of guys helping them, a couple of friends. It's a family sport, certainly. Everybody here to have fun and enjoy these runoffs. You don't want to spend your 40 minutes of racing behind a safety car.
No, it's not good for anybody. You know, the fans that come here to want to watch a race, they love this class because it's so competitive. And they do allow a little rubbing and bumping and pushing and shoving, and you know, so that's exciting, and it's fun. If you're one of these drivers in this group, you know, you're wanting to win the race, yeah, but you're having a blast right now. I guarantee you that.
No question about it. One of the most enjoyable weekends for us every year to be part of these SCCA National Championship runoffs, and for the competitors, even more the case. If you want to get involved in the fun of SCCA racing, check it out, scca.com. A lot of ways you can do that, and we'll talk more about those as we get deeper into our weekend's worth of coverage here. We hope you can be with us all weekend long throughout all of these events. All of, 8 races a day, 9 races a day. We've got a lot of action coming your way. We're just getting started. We've barely settled into the chairs here.
Exactly.
At this point. So it's, we've got just a lot to talk about here.
3 long days and 1,000 cars to talk about.
Roll on in the 87 is your leader. We've got 5 laps to go here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
And things will just about now start getting to be quite aggressive, I would think. 5 laps, you start trying to make maneuvers. You start maneuvering and trying to get an idea of how to pass somebody. You're not going to get it done with 5 to go, but you can most certainly start feeling the other guy out.
Haldeman in the 28 second, Pardus in the 42 third. Top 5 have got a shot. Gagliardo in the 13, Stein in the 39. Now, all of these 5 have spent time at the head of the class.
Oh, yeah. And this is a 5-car breakaway. This is what you wanted to see. They narrowed it down. There's might be the 6 car might catch into there, too. But anyway, these guys are all now starting to figure out one of us is going to win this. How we're going to get it done.
So the 87 to roll on is your leader.
So now into the front straightaway, I would expect people to start popping on each other.
Yeah, this is Haldeman in the red 28. He was your pole sitter. He took a look to the inside there a moment ago.
He goes defensive. He goes down the inside, so he's running nowhere near the wall up there.
Well, the one thing you don't want to do if you're the leader coming to the last lap is pick the wrong lane, is go one way and have the other two or three go the other way.
You know they're going to go the other way. You know, they're going to have to make a pop. And so what he's doing is taking options away. He says, if you're going to do it, I'm going to make it awkward first.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make you do it the long way around, which is on the upper side.
Roll on in the 87. You've got a 6-car freight train now. The 6th place machine of Michael Carter, the 08, has joined the fun. He has caught that top 5.
Preston Pardus in the 42 third place car is getting aggressive now. He's starting to really rub the back end of the 28 in the corners. In the straightaway, when you bump somebody, that's one thing because you push them along in front of you. But when you start rubbing on them in the corners, that's not so. It's not as pleasant.
I know. No, that's a good way to end up sideways in the kitty litter if you're not careful there. The 87 car of Sealand Rollon continues to lead. Haldeman in the 28, Pardus in the 42, Gagliardo in the 13, Stein in the 39, and now that black 08 car, Michael Carter. He's joined that lead draft, and there may be more company on the way. Daniel Bender in the 21, the 7th place car, closing in as well. Doris, we may have 7 drivers who want to settle this thing here at Indy. Let's grab a break. Come right back with more of Spec Miata and the SCCA runoffs.
Coverage of the SCCA National Championship runoffs is presented by Mazda. Driving matters.
Every stitch is a part of me. All these shapes and designs express our devotion to craftsmanship. I want people to feel our passion when they touch it and when they drive it.
The all-new Mazda CX-5. Can you feel something without touching it? See something with your eyes closed. When everything is designed around you, the driver, you can. The Mazda 3.
Welcome back to our SCCA.com live coverage of the SCCA National Championship runoffs at Indy. Laps starting to wind down here in Spec Miata. 2 to go the next time by. They put 16 on the board. It's been a great battle. We've got 7 or 8 cars in this lead group. Roll on in the 87. The orange 87 has been the leader. He has led a lot of laps here today. He's come from 10th on the grid. Been a great run for him to get to the lead.
Once he got to the lead, he's really kind of dominated this whole front pack. And he's showing me some good moves in traffic.
Yeah, no question about it. The 42 of Pardus has been off in the grass a couple of times, but he's come back to run in 2nd spot right now. And we welcome you back to our CBS Sports Network coverage of the 54th running of the SCCA National Championship runoffs. He's Dorsey Schrader. I'm Rick Benjamin. Hayward Wagner with our coverage down on pit road this weekend. The 87 of Sealand Rollon is your race leader from 10th on the grid. It's been a great battle here at Spec Miata. These guys not afraid to use some grass when they need to get to the front. No question
or bumpers.
About it. Yeah, that too. The 42 car in 2nd spot. That's been quite a fight here for the lead. We expect these top 3 or 4 to put on a great fight over the last lap or two. Preston Pardus 2nd right now. The draft is key here at Indy. Hayward Wagner, what's going on downstairs?
Guys, you just mentioned Michael Carter making his way into that lead draft. Remember, he's the 17-year-old out of Savannah, Georgia that had that great race last year with Justin Hilly. Finished 2nd at the runoffs after a door-to-door battle through madness. He has a taste for this. Keep an eye on him as we get close to the end.
We will watch and see. He has gained a lot of ground here over the last few laps. Right now, it is still Rollon, your leader in the 87 car. The 42 of Pardus in 2nd spot right now. And the 39 of Danny Stein has staged a nice comeback to get back to 3rd.
Pardus is the most aggressive of all the cars right now. He's not shy about rubbing the back end of his car in front of him. And that depending on where he does that, can be advantageous, but it could also really mess up the freight train here.
Up onto the backstretch. All of these drivers calculating, thinking, okay, what do I need to do? How do I get myself in position? It looks like Gagliardo in the 13 has lost that draft. He's fallen back to 7th, so it looks like it'll be these 6 that'll settle this one amongst themselves. Daniel Bender in the 21 has gotten himself into the mix in the last few laps as well. So Bender in the 21, Carter in the 08, they've staged great drives to get into this as well.
Oh, car spun right there. No, I didn't see
Damage.
it.
That's a hard hit.
Yeah, it's a
lot
big
of
hit.
damage to both ends of that machine. So contact with
And I
the
don't see
wall
a
at the
yellow.
very least.
That's quite strange. I didn't see a yellow flag. I saw the car first, and there wasn't a lot of jumping around and carrying on. That car is hurt.
Bender in the 21 started 7th. Carter in the 08 started 9th. Roland in the 87, your leader, started back in 10th. So this is one of those classes where your qualifying spot doesn't necessarily mean you're going to run in that kind of relative position the whole way here.
White flag is out. One to go.
One to go in Spec Miata.
And just on cue, watch this. Everybody's going to start to flare. Now we're 3 wide.
Pardus in the 42 on the outside. Stein in the 39 on the inside. The 87 of Roland tucks in behind the 42. They'll go 2 by 2. Brake smoke, tire smoke down into 1 there.
And
2 by 2, leaning on each other. The 42 of Pardus, the 39 of Stein, the 87 of Roland with a fight here.
What friends? Not now or not. And we got a crash car up ahead of us that we got to deal with too. That's
he's offline.
Yeah,
but
I'm
you
sure
got
it's
to take
a
that
yellow
into account.
though.
Yeah.
So they can't pass in that area. When they get there, they're going to have to give up any attempt for a pass.
Roland in the 87 looked dominant. He got to the front from 10th on the grid. He has been shuffled back to 4th, fighting his way by the 21 of Daniel Bender there as they fight for 4th spot.
Nice brake modulation by the 87 Roland there, who's our leader earlier on.
No ABS, no traction control in these cars.
No, you can see those cars dragging tires and smoking, brakes and tires getting in these corners.
And as we talked about earlier, if you're with us online, our coverage of Spec Racer Ford, the way the track is configured for these runoffs, start-finish is pretty early at the exit of the corner here.
Good point. I mean, because if you had that long straightaway, a draft would pull out, but you got to really be good in that last series of corners.
You're not going to be able to draft and make a move at the stripe here in all likelihood.
There's that car that's, they're just leaving it there, and they're waving at guys that's still in the car.
Saying, hey guys, I'm here. Don't forget about me. All right.
Don't run into me,
Couple
please.
of corners left here. Stein in the 39. Roland in the 87 right there. Ganging up a little here on Pardus in the 42. Pardus, your leader in that white Miata, the 42 car.
Pretty clean car. Not dented up. Not, it's not too abused.
Started on the outside pole, has bided his time. He's got about a car length, a little more than that. Lead on Danny Stein in the 39. Coming to the checkered flag. Pardus in the 42 is your leader. Stein and Roland back there fighting for second. Checkered flag waves over Preston Pardus in the 42. Danny Stein finishes second in the 39. Seelan Roland comes home third in the 87. Haldeman in the 28. Carter in the 08. Bender in the 21. The rest of your top 6 in Spec Miata.
Well done, too. Here's a battle in the back that's not over yet.
Clark Camber in the 178 trying to hang on against a gaggle of 5 here. A little deeper in the field, back around 20th spot. This is for 20th. Cameron in the 178 looks like he will get that spot. So we congratulate our executive producer here of this coverage, Clark Cameron, contesting these runoffs. Third start of the runoffs for Clark and a 20th place finish on a 72. That's not bad.
And the good news is he still has a car to race.
There you go.
This is our lead group up here. Everybody giving each other the wave. Good job done. And I am quite impressed with the show they put on today.
No question. A terrific battle in Spec Miata. Break for us. When we come back, we'll talk to our top 3 finishers in Spec Miata at the 54th SCCA National Championship Runoffs. And we are staying with you with our live coverage here at SCCA.com. The 42 of Pardus. Great job from New Smyrna Beach, Florida, the Central Florida region. Winning honors here today after qualifying second, but he had a fight on his hands. This was not a cakewalk for these guys, not by any means. The 39 of Stein qualified third. He finishes second. Roland in the 87, 10th to lead a lot of laps. He has to settle for third at the checkered flag.
But a battle all the way through. That was, a start to green flag to finish. Those guys went at it and stayed at it. And they didn't rough each other up. I mean, these cars are not all tore up. And
No.
that for a Spec Miata, you see cars wrecked all the time. Not today.
I don't even see any tire donuts on any doors.
No, it's quite. That's what I mean. I'm really impressed.
Yeah.
Quite a clean race for the amount of cars.
And Pardus in the 42, ecstatic. You can see him just shaking his fist out the window. So excited. And when you've beaten 71 other entries, the best of the best from around the country and all the regions, that is quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, and then do it cleanly. I mean, those guys up front really did a good job.
It was a fight all the way, start to finish. Pardus your winner. Stein in second, Roland in third, then Haldeman, Carter, and Bender. Michael Gagliardo, who was up in the lead group, ran up in the top 3 earlier, has to settle for 7th. He fell off the pace late. Jonathan Davis in the 16 gets 8th. Joseph Federo in the 121 comes home 9th, and Nick Leverone in the 91 car rounding out the top 10. Andrew Carbonneau, who's been in this quite a while, had a lot of success over the years in the 0, was 11th. Paul Holton in the 60 gets 12th. Jim Drago, another longtime Runoffs competitor in the 2 car, 13th. Jason Knudsen in the 05. Taylor Ferranti in the 51, your top 15. And we'll welcome you back to Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Coverage of the SCCA Runoffs, the 54th renewal of the Runoffs. Spec Miata is complete. Hayward Wagner with our winner, Preston Pardus.
Preston Pardus, your first Runoffs win, getting the Hoosier neckwear. When you went into turn 1 on the last lap, did you think you had this one?
I knew I wanted it to be second with 2 to go, just so I could be behind the leader, and I knew you couldn't probably pass anywhere other than the first straight. So once I grabbed the lead down into 1, I knew that was probably the move to make.
Almost 100 guys showed up with Spec Miatas this week to try to get a national championship. How does it feel to know that your first one at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway comes against the strongest field we've ever seen?
It's incredible. It's the best runoffs that's ever been for Spec Miata. There's never been 100 of them, and it's pretty central, so most West and East guys can show up, and it's incredible to finally do something.
Well, congratulations to you, sir. You get a victory lap, and we're going to catch up with our second place finisher.
All right, Preston Pardus pretty darn excited. The Easy Street Racing machine comes home with the victory here in Spec Miata. Stein in second in the 39. There's Roland, Haldeman, Carter, Bender, Gagliardo we talked about, Davis, Joe Federal in the 121, and Nick Leverone in the 91. Some guys have been doing this a long time. As you say, Dorsey, the cream does rise to the top in these races.
Oh, no doubt about it. And then for Preston Pardus, you know, as young as he is, to have the first win at Indy, the first win with 100 cars, well, what a great accomplishment.
All right, let's talk to our runner-up today. Back downstairs to Hayward.
Danny, I don't know if your grin could be bigger if that was gold. You seem pretty happy with that.
First of all, congratulations to Preston. What a great drive he did. And to Celine behind me. I'm sure everybody knows, but turn 1 was 3 wide on the last lap, and that's the most you can ask for. It got a little bit bargy through 1, 2, and 3, but we all are here at the end, all my friends, and to all the people that made this possible, especially Tom Fowler, who prepares the car, to Mike Rossini, who builds my engine, to G-Lock Brakes, to TrackMate, my friends there, Glenn, to my wonderful wife, Kim, who's supporting on the sidelines, all the people back home shouting, especially at Ocean Machinery. Hope you're watching this. Pretty fun time. And thanks to SCCA for putting it on at Indianapolis. This is about as good as it gets.
Let me ask you, you're one of the leaders of this community. You know a lot of people. You run a lot of races. What does it say about SCCA Spec Miata Racing that we've now completed 4 consecutive runoff races without a full court caution, without a pace car?
We used to have this moniker called Rec Miata or Spec Pinata. But the fact that we've got through these, I think it tells you that at the front the quality is pretty stout. Pretty sad to see a couple of cars rumpled up on the side there. And of course, my body man is going to have a little bit of work here. You know, it's honestly, if you think about how close we were within millimeters, a piece of paper wedged between bumpers, that's the skill of the drivers at the front. And the fact that an old man like myself can compete with these young kids, that's just really something very special.
Says a lot about the old man, doesn't it?
Thank you.
Old age and treachery still does defeat youthful exuberance at times.
Well,
Danny
cheers.
Stein gets second.
Great job.
Preston Pardus with a very impressive run, though, in that 42 car to victory. Hung right in there, seized his opportunity over the last couple of laps, and comes home with his first Runoffs national championship.
And these cars are not tore up. I mean, yeah, they got a little bump here and a little bruise there, but compared to what Spec Miata used to be like, where it was just a demo derby, hats off to these guys, 72 of them.
Absolutely the case. All right, let's catch up with our third-place finisher back down to Hayward.
Celine, I first met you in Daytona a couple of years ago for the night race. How did this race compare to that experience?
Well, it didn't rain, so that's a good thing. That was a tough one in Daytona. We were kind of behind the 8 ball in this one, started 10th. I don't know how we made it. I think I was 4th after lap 1 and just kind of drove up. Car was great. BSI Racing, Rossini Racing, Apex Alignment, Classic Mazda, Roland Plumbing. Everyone made a great car. Thank you to my parents. Everything was great. Congrats to Preston. He's one of my best friends, and I couldn't be happy for anyone else. I wouldn't want anyone else to win it, besides me, but Preston's a great driver. Great weekend.
We just saw you and Danny have a hug there right before you came over to speak to us. What was that conversation like?
Just congratulations. We share the same engine, Rossini Racing products. They build a great motor. We were a little behind in the beginning of the week. Tuned it. Working on this car all week, and we got it. It was a dream to drive.
Well, congratulations to you on a bronze.
Thank you very much.
Celine Roland, who's been with us in Spec Miata the last few seasons, great run for him to 3rd today, and really terrific battling everywhere. There's one of the wounded machines, the car that was left inside on the grass there in a safe area. A driver was concerned, stayed in the car, but heavy damage to that car, but the car held up great. It was a wild one here, no question about it. 72 entries in Spec Miata making the start here today out of nearly 100 that came to Indy to try to qualify.
And what a show they put on for the fans today. It's the biggest amount of cars that we've run, and it's probably the cleanest group in history.
Yeah, no question about it. We congratulate our winner, Preston Pardus. For Dorsey Schrader, Hayward Wagner, I'm Rick Benjamin. See you next time.